Hi, I'm Dr. Lacy George. Welcome to my AP Biology class. Hopefully I will answer a lot of questions, but feel free to contact me anytime you have any questions or thoughts or really just want to say hello. So briefly, a little who am I? This is my, I believe, fourth year here at Cambridge. I teach honors biology and I teach AP biology. This is my 10th year teaching in total. My undergraduate degree is in biology from Mercer University, so go Bears. And then my graduate degree is a PhD in genetics from Dartmouth College. But really, who am I? I am the proud mommy of a whole bunch of snails, a couple shrimpies, maybe even some fish every now and then. But even more proud, I'm the proud aunt of my gorgeous niece, Mackenzie, who will be turning 1 in just a few days. And I have also turned into a bit of a mask hoarder and mask aficionado. So, I'm ready. I have my Dr. George mask. So if you need to contact me, there's several options. You can always email me. My email is georgelk@fultonschools.org. I have noticed a couple parent emails that have ended up in my spam folder, so I do try to check that kind of regularly. But if you send me an email and you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, try again or try step number 2. The other option, I have a class remind for AP Biology. The students join, I send class updates. The students can send me questions, emails, and so parents are more than welcome to join. Then you can get the updates too. And so you can see the instructions for how to join the remind. I'll also try to send out a newsletter every now and then. I don't want to bombard everyone with emails because I know that you're probably getting a lot of them. So I will try to send out a newsletter maybe before each new unit. So here's just some important information for you and your students to have. The AP exam is currently scheduled to be like the classic AP exam on paper in school, and it's scheduled for the very last day of AP exams, which is Friday, May 14th in the morning. If your student is also taking AP Environmental, I apologize because that is the same day as the AP Environmental exam, which is in the afternoon. For access to the textbook, you can request a hard copy of the textbook. However, it's not required. We do have an online textbook, which is pretty good, and that is accessible via Mastering Biology. The students should have signed up for Mastering Biology at the beginning of the semester. If they didn't, the instructions for how to do so are on the syllabus and are on OneNote, and of course they can always contact me. Mastering Biology is also a great place for some study guides. It also has a little study room, and there's some online homework that will get posted there from time to time. When it comes to most of the documents that the students will receive, things like notes, PowerPoints, handouts, those are mostly going to be delivered via OneNote. I like that I can organize it. I can have the students stay organized. And so videos of any lessons or supplemental videos that I think are useful will go on OneNote as well. And they can also access the syllabus on OneNote as well. Teams, of course, is going to be used for live class meetings and for group meetings. That is also where I post my lesson plans by Sunday night of the week that's about to come. They are, at least at the very beginning, a little subject to change because, of course, we know we're all having technology issues and flexibility is the name of the game. So that's why communication is super important, and that's why it's really, really helpful if students are trying to attend class or contacting me if they can't attend class to get updates and joining that remind. Major assignments will usually be delivered through teams, so that would include things that will count as a summative, and they'll always know ahead of time if something is going to count as a summative versus a formative, which, as you know, does not count in their final grade calculation. And then we also use teams for group work and like breakout groups. Some of the suggested supplies, obviously, you know, they definitely need their computer. And if you're feeling really, really nice, I know I could not live without a second screen. So having a second, much bigger screen if they have a laptop, I'm just going to put that out there as maybe a birthday gift or a back to school gift. But what I would suggest is definitely a scientific calculator. It does not have to be a graphing calculator, though if they have one, graphing calculator is totally fine. The students will all try to use their phone as a calculator, and it just is not the same. So it really just needs to be a calculator that can do the basic functions plus things like square root. So it doesn't have to be the fanciest thing in the world, but if they already have a graphing calculator, that would be fine. And that can be used on the AP exam as well. And then, you know, things like rulers, pencils, pens, etc., whatever they think that they'll need for note-taking, etc. Some students are all about using their computer and they want to do all their notes online. They want to do everything online, and that's fine. And some students would rather do things on the old school pen and paper, and that's fine too. And if necessary, if it's something that's going to be turned in, they can always take a photo and submit the photo. I say things like a ruler because every now and then I'll have them either do graphing, or the last thing we just did was I had them measure their hand size. So it kind of helped us collect some data if students had access to a ruler. And then it would be helpful if they had access to graph paper or a printer that can print out graph paper, because that's always an option. That's what I've been doing for the past however many years. And then regular paper, just even if it's just printer paper for scratch paper. So I wanted to kind of give a brief overview of the course. The students have both a PowerPoint and a video of the PowerPoint that gives a much less brief overview of the course. So you can definitely ask them to view it if you would like to. So there are 8 units in AP Biology that we have to cover. So the goal would be to try to cover the first 4 this semester, although you can see that they're not equally weighted in terms of the exam, so they're also not equally weighted in terms of how long we spend. In fact, we've spent the first 3 weeks not doing any of them. I call it Unit 0, which is a statistics for biology core unit. But then next week we will start chemistry of life, and we'll go through and hopefully wrap up using around cell communication and cell cycle in December. But that is not all we have to cover, and that's not all they need to be prepared for. So about half of the exam is content-based, but a good half of it is also science practices. And so there are 6 science practices. I didn't list them here. But they include things like the ability to represent data, so being able to graph and graph correctly, being able to do basic statistics. It's not a statistics course, but you wouldn't know it from the way we've spent the first couple weeks. So if your student is in statistics now, we've probably overlapped a little bit. Interpreting data, if they're given a graph, being able to interpret what that says, and then making and interpreting models so that if they're given like a picture of something, they can figure out what's going on. And it's those science practices that actually are the part that trips up most students or makes life difficult for most students in AP Bio. The content is the content. I mean, a good student is going to learn the content, but the science practices are the part that we're not as used to preparing for. And so that's probably what we'll spend a lot more time on, which may feel strange because when the students look at the AP exams, and if you're ever on Twitter and look at AP Bio exam Twitter like memes, they're always things like, we didn't learn that. This is things like they asked us to cure cancer on the AP exam. And that's because they aren't necessarily judging just how much did you learn in terms of content, but how well can you do these practices. So how well can you, if I give you this, experimental data about some experiment you've never heard of, chemicals you've never heard of, genes you've never heard of, sure, they'll ask a couple questions about the content stuff, but then the rest will be things that are all about, can you interpret what's going on? Can you make some kind of a judgment call? Can you make some suggestions for in the future? And so it's very uncomfortable the first times you try these, because you're like, wait a second, this was not what we prepared for. This is not what I, did a Quizlet for. And so I try to get the students to understand that that's why we practice, and that's why the tests that I give in class are designed to have that in there. And it's okay if they don't do very well on them, and that this is the perfect year for that, because now they get to do retakes to try and improve, which can only help them on the real AP exam. So I just put that out there because at the beginning of the year, the students often freak out because they are concerned because it's very different from what they're used to. It's not just memorize the facts and regurgitate them on a test. It's a lot more actual analyzing and coming up with new information. And so the last thing I have for you is just a little snippet of how I see the course going, and hopefully how your students will see the course going. Currently, for the past 3 weeks, I've been delivering content mostly synchronously via lectures that the students follow along with me, and then I post that a video of that on OneNote once we're done. That probably won't continue. For one, it's just we won't finish all of the content if we do it that way, and also it's really not the most interesting way to conduct class, even if we were face-to-face. So largely, most of the content will be delivered asynchronously via videos, lectures that I record. The AP classroom is putting out daily videos for students to watch on each individual topic. So that's going to be pretty well covered, and that's going to leave us our class time, which 45 minutes goes by very fast. So that's going to leave us that time for practice, for questions. Obviously right now, labs will be mostly simulations or demonstrations, but gives us time to do those things, group work. I'd like to put the students into groups and have them do lab analysis. So that's kind of how I see class time working. So it is important for the students to be in class as much as possible, because otherwise they miss that time to ask questions and kind of feed off of their peers. I'm also posting optional resources on OneNote. Those are things that it would be great if students worked on. However, it's up to the students if they feel like they need them. So that includes things like study guides, extra videos that I think are helpful, maybe extra notes that I think are helpful, practice problems if it's something that that is problem-based. So basically anything that I think might help students, but that I don't want to assign to everyone. And so that's kind of one of those things where it's on the student to decide, is this something that I need? And if so, they can work on it. They can come to office hours and ask questions. They can email me questions. Or, if it's something that they're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got this already, then that works too, and they don't have to worry about it. Because I don't want to bog anyone down when obviously we have a lot going on right now. So it's there for the students who need it, and the students who don't need it can, do what they do, and it'll be good. So I want to just wrap it up with a reminder of my contact information. Email hopefully works. Remind works really well, especially if you're asking students if you should postpone a test. But please don't hesitate to contact me. Flexible is kind of the go word for the semester and the year, and that goes for everyone. So it's not just for me, it's for the students. I just want to see them enjoying AP biology, honestly. So if you need anything or they need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I will hopefully be hearing from you.